and welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and this is Peppy. So today's makeup look is going to be this glowy makeup. Simple, easy, fresh. It's something that's going to get you out the door in 10-15 minutes. Of course, this video is going to take a little bit longer because I'm filming and doing makeup and talking, but it's just going to be really simple and easy. Fresh, dewy skin. Everyone wants to look hydrated. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so to get started and create that simple glowy makeup look, I am just going to clip my bangs back. This is relatively new for me. A lot of people are like, why did you get bangs? And I'm like, just spontaneous, you know. High maintenance. Okay, we're good. I look like a crazy lady, but it's fine. Alright. Okay, so the very first step, guys, is to prep your skin well. And when I mean prep your skin, I'm talking about skincare. So what I did this morning was I popped on a serum, eye cream, face cream, and lip balm. I'm pretty sure that was it. Yeah. Prep your skin really well with skincare. So I prepped my skin really well. I'm going to go in with a base product. And what I mean by base, guys, is primer. So for my primer option, I've got combination more on the drier side nowadays. So I get an oily T-zone, more around here, I'd say. Like this is where my oil flow usually is, and I get a bit shiny just above my brows here. So I guess to help combat that is this guy. This is the Jane Iredale Smooth Affair for oily skin. Now, with mattifying primers, you want to just pop it on the areas that, you know, you only get oily. There's no reason for you to pop it everywhere, because then, you know, your nicely hydrated areas just get really matte, and I don't find that necessary. So I'm going to go in with a small amount of this primer, just basically in my T-zone. And the Jane Iredale one is really, really nice because it's really gentle, good for sensitive skin. There's really no nasties in there. Her makeup range is quite good, actually. Okay, so primer is on. I'm actually going to leave everywhere else like primer free, but I am going to pop on the MAC strobe cream in Gold Light. I've just got a little sample of it only, so I don't have the actual product to show you. So the strobe cream is relatively going to be on the higher points of my face, just for that, you know, lit from within glow underneath makeup later. So I'm just popping it on the tops of my cheeks, above the brows here, and then maybe a bit on the chin. Okay, so next, now because this is a really simple glowy makeup, suitable for the daytime, as I mentioned before, it's great for someone that is in a rush but still wants to come out looking polished and fresh, a bit of color in the cheeks. So when I'm not at work with my main job, I don't like to wear foundation. I try to keep it really minimal, really, really light. So I like to go in with a tinted moisturiser, and there are so many tinted moisturisers out there in the market these days. There are, you know, your BB creams, which is your beauty balms. You've got your CC creams, which is your colour correcting creams. So many, but essentially I feel like they're all the same thing. They're like a tinted moisturizer, so they even out the skin tone, cover a little bit here and there, but just a lighter alternative than your traditional foundation, which is more on the fuller coverage side of things. So I absolutely love, for me, the Nars Radiant Tinted Moisturizer. This gives the most beautiful, subtle, radiant glow, you know, perfect for your dry skin types or even your combination. I probably wouldn't recommend this guy for your true oily skin, and your oily skin types are like visible shine everywhere. It's not just in the T-zone, it's everywhere. A lot of people just think that they've got oily skin, but they don't. They just got combination skin. So if you've got true oily skin, probably not this one because it gives you that glow. There is a matte version of this. So yeah, this one gives decent coverage, but not like your foundation. So I like to actually use it with a foundation buffing brush just to give a nice sheer coverage, you know, blend it seamlessly. I actually find that by using a brush, you're actually using less product wastage. I normally work in sections, so I start like, I'll do this section, then my forehead, then this, then I just work my way around the face. Some people like dotting it on and then like blending it. Whatever's left on your brush, just kind of lightly dust it, like brush it on the earlobe here and like around here. Because think about it, we don't really get tan there as much, and especially behind, like in this section here. Always blend there, guys. It's, you know, because if you're putting up your hair, you want everything to be blended and even. You don't have to use a brush, okay? You can use your fingers if you want, because it's just a tinted moisturizer, but I love a really blended sheer coverage. Sometimes with your fingers you don't blend as well and the product is not, you know, as even. Like it could be more fuller coverage here, less coverage here. You just never know. So to be safe, I just use a brush. And look, even though it's just tinted moisturizer, you can still build on the coverage. Just, you know, keep applying. Oh, and I forgot to mention, my shade in the Nars Radiant Tinted Moisturiser is Groenland in Light 3. Okay, so the blush for today is from Nars, and it's the multiple stick. When you set, try not to buff in the powder because you're disturbing the foundation, or and I'm going to use a brush, pat across. For me, as I mentioned before, I am combination skin type, so mainly oily here, so I'm just going to focus around there. Whatever's left over on the brush, I'm just going to pat everywhere else. So just a small amount of powder and tap off the excess because you don't want to load too much on. And I'm just going to start in the T-zone. Colour, purely because you want to brighten and give yourself that fresh awake. I've slept for 8 hours, but not, you know. So for concealer under the eyes today, I'm using the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Concealer, and apparently it's meant to be anti-aging. It's waterproof and it doesn't crease. If you don't want any of your concealers to crease, less is more. Do that approach, less is more. If you just pack on heaps of, you know, product underneath the eye area, you're going to crease, because naturally we crease there. You know, if you look close in the mirror, you'll see little, you know, fine lines, dehydration lines, or even wrinkles. So don't, you know, slap on too much makeup under there, because then it'll just look like a hot mess. So this shade is in medium. Okay. Now I'm just going to use my fingers, because I find the warmth of your finger pads for concealers underneath the eyes work really well, especially with this type of concealer. The texture is more on the thicker side of things, so I'm just making sure that I'm pushing it, melting it into the skin, so it gives a really nice natural finish. Whatever's left on your fingers, just like pat it onto the orbital bone area, which is here, right on the tops of the cheekbone. I want to brighten that up, just makes you look more awake and fresh. Also, if you're going to apply eyeshadow on the day, I always like to apply a bit of concealer across the eyelid, just to neutralize the skin tone, because sometimes we get a bit red there, or, you know, that bruisey type of, you know, look. So we're just brightening and neutralizing. And for me, and I find most people as well, we get a bit red around like the nose area, so a bit of concealer there as well. Makes a big difference. I think I'm happy with that. Blending is absolutely key. You know, try and be a little bit patient with blending. There's nothing worse than, you know, you walking out the door and then it just looks like you've got this mask on, because you don't have many, you know, you haven't blended the product down here, for example. So make sure you blend. Everything has to be seamless and undetectable for a natural finish. So the base, complexion product is on, which is tinted moisturizer and concealer. I'm happy with the coverage and the blending, so then I'm going to move on to setting powder. And setting powder choice today, so for me, I like to use a translucent powder that's relatively maybe more on the organic side, more natural side, mineral side. So today I'm going to use the Ilia Soft Focus Powder. This is so nice. It's You can't even tell that you've got powder on. Well, obviously, because when you look close in the mirror, but it's not drying at all. It lightly sets it, but doesn't make you look like you've aged 50 years. So I'm going to use a small setting brush, and this one is from Real Techniques. It's just a small setting brush that I like to use under, like around my eye area. So it's loose, so I've tapped it into the cap. And also another tip as well, before you set your under eye area, just with your clean finger or the tool that you use to apply concealer, just like lightly pat like this. And what you're doing is you're smoothing the area for any creasing that had already happened. And then just with your brush, with minimal powder, minimal product, just lightly pat, but just like that, okay? It's translucent. You didn't add any extra coverage or color. You're just setting it. Doing the same on the other side. Okay. Now remember, we put concealer across the eyelids, so I'm going to set the eyelids as well. You don't have to do this step, but I prefer to do it because when I go to blend eyeshadow, it blends really nicely without, you know, catching on to any creamy wet areas. It's constantly dry there, so we need to be careful of what products we're using around that eye area, which is why I've gone for something more hydrating and not really like drying or matte for oily skin, because we don't really have oil under here. So that's that. Now the second type of powder product that I like to use for the rest of the face is something different. So I've got here the MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Powder in Medium Plus. It's just a really light powder. It's just really natural, like still gives you that glow. It doesn't take that glow away, just lightly sets. And then whatever's left on the brush, I'm happy with that. Okay, so now comes the fun part, color. So we're gonna introduce and add some color into my cheeks. Okay, blush. No, wait. Yeah, we're gonna go for blush. Okay, so the blush in G-Spot. Getting sidetracked. So it is in the shade G-Spot, and I absolutely love it for, you know, your golden undertone skin, you know, girls and guys, or if you're a little bit more on the tan side, love this. So the fact that it's called the Multiple, there's a reason behind it. It's a cream product, so you can literally use it on your lips, cheeks, eyes, boom, done, out the door. Really easy. I'm going to use this as a blush on my cheeks. So I'm going to just brush it on like this. Okay, less is more. Okay, so start slowly. You don't want to add so much blush and then you're like, you know, crap, I can't blend this out anymore. But the majority of the product really should be on the apple of the cheek, like this, and then you blend backwards onto the cheekbone. I find that gives a really nice natural finish, natural flushing of the skin, and just a light pressure with the brush. Apply, blend, and then look back. Always pull back, like look back and go, okay, is that enough? Do I need more? Okay, other side now. And if you struggle where to place blush, just smile to yourself like this, and you'll see the apple of the cheek appear. And then that's where the product should be. And then you just blend backwards onto the cheekbone like that. And then whatever's left on the brush, brush it across the nose bridge like you've been kissed by the sun. Now is bronzer. So you can go in with a cream bronzer, you can go in with powder, whatever you're comfortable with. Again, for me, like it just depends on my mood. Sometimes I'll go for all cream products, sometimes a bit of powder, a bit of cream, a bit of liquid, just depends. But today I've decided to go in with the Nars Orgasm Infatuation Cheek Palette. Look how cool that is. Oh God, so much reflection. Oh God, what am I doing? There you go. But you've got your bronzer, your blush, and your highlight in powder. A little bit on the brush, tap off the excess. Anything that's powder, really, you want to tap off the excess. Now, an easy way to apply bronzer, I find, is see the tops of your ears here. Just imagine there's like an imaginary line. So from here and then down to the corner of your mouth. That's where you sort of want to apply your bronzer. Of course, you don't want to actually connect it to the corner of your mouth because that's weird. I normally just start here, okay, and then stop blending at about where the apples of the cheeks start, because that's where my blush is. And then whatever's left on the brush, I just kind of dust it on the neck and jawline, just to sharpen it up, a bit across the nose. And that is bronzer for me. I'm pretty happy with that. I might add a little bit of highlight from this palette. I'm going to use an eyeshadow blending brush. You can use any eyeshadow blending brush. So I just like to use it with a blending. Ooh, shivers, that's good. This is my first time applying this highlighter, so this is like first experience for me. Ooh, that's nice. So you basically want to apply in like a C shape almost, because that mimics a natural glow in the skin. And other side. And also Cupid's bow to bring forward a natural pout. Woo, I look glowy, very glowy, but that's fine. Okay, cool. Happy with the base products, color, cheeks, everything. Moving on to brows. Now, I like to always fill in my brows regardless of the day. I need to have brows on. What I like to do is go in with a clean spoolie. Just brush out any excess like makeup that you've done previously, like powder, things like that. And then I'm going to go in with the Benefit Gimme Brow Tinted Eyebrow Gel in the shade 3. I'm just going to brush up and outwards. So this is going to tint your brows, but also add a bit of volume, because it's got tiny little fibers in the formula. And they attach to the natural brow hair, so it gives the illusion of a thicker brow. So I don't know if you can see a difference from this brow and this brow. It's just a slight difference. You can already see that it's slightly tinted. And then I go in with a brow pencil to fill in the sparse areas. And I'm using the Les Sourcil brow pencil. It's more like a crayon pencil in the shade number 3. It doesn't have a spoolie connected at the end, unfortunately, but I just slowly twist it up. Great. Okay, so I normally start filling in my brows just at the bottom, create like a little guideline, a faint guideline, just underneath my brows here, and then just follow the natural shape of my brow. You don't need to press too hard on the skin with brow pencils, because the moment that you do, you'll find that the color goes on really, really dark. Basically just like doing little light dashes to fill in sparse areas. Don't worry if it gets a bit messy, because I'll show you a way to clean up around and sculpt out the brow, so it gives a more crisp, cleaner look. And with brows, when you fill them in, what you want to try and do is keep the front bit of the brow, this bit, relatively light, and then it kind of fades in this gradient effect. So then it goes from light and then it goes a little bit darker as you get to about the tail of the brow. I feel like that gives a really natural look. If you want, I can do a separate video on how to fill in, or how I fill in my brows, but this is just a really quick way of doing it. Okay, so that is one brow done. So I'm going to move on to this brow, and then I'm going to clean up around the eyebrows. Sorry, I go really quiet when I do my brows. I just get in the zone. Now that I filled it in with a brow pencil, I'm going to go in with a spoolie and just blend it out, because I want to soften it out. Make sure everything's blended, softened out so it's not too harsh. And I'm just going to use a fan brush to sort of flick away like any sort of like fallout. Okay, now what I'm going to do is clean around the brows. So to get a really nice clean crisp brow, you want to use a concealer brush, and this one is the MAC 212 brush, and I use it for concealing the brows. So I'm just going to go in with the Tarte Amazonian Clay Waterproof Concealer in Fair Light. Looks like this. And I'm just going to pop a little bit on the brush, and I'm just going to clean up around the brows, and I'm just going to use another type of concealer brush just to kind of blend out so you don't really see the concealer, and then just clean around it, sculpting the brows, and you'll see a difference, but this one's a little bit more crisp, more sculpted. And now I'm going to do the other side. Okay, so I'm happy with the way I filled in my brow, but this is a very last step to the brows. Optional, but I like to do this step. So I'm going back in with that Gimme Brow from Benefit, and I'm just going to polish it off. So upwards and outwards. I feel like brow gel just really finishes off the brow look. Kind of see it like a finishing hairspray. Woo! Brows are done. Look, good brows take time, so patience is key, people. So now I'm going to pop on a bit of colour on the lids. So what do we go in for? RMS Beauty Buriti bronzer. Yep. And it looks like this. Warm, bronzy, subtle shimmer, but not too excessive. Just gives a nice gloss to the lids. Beautiful warmth too. You can just use it with your finger like this. So dip it in and apply it on the eyelid. So easy to use. This is actually a bronzer, so like for your cheeks, but because it's cream you can literally use it anywhere you like. Yes, bit of shade. Look at that. Can you see? From this side to this side. So I've got eyeshadow here and obviously no eyeshadow there. You can layer it as well. So if you want to go darker, just keep applying more. Remember before when I put concealer across my eyelid and then I went in with a translucent setting powder? Your cream products on the eyelids will last a lot longer now that you've set it with a bit of powder underneath this, so just FYI. Cream eyeshadow on the lids don't last as long because they just kind of mesh in with your natural eyelid oils and it tends to go patchy and it comes off. Doesn't last as long. So if you do that trick beforehand like I showed you, it will last a lot longer. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So that was the Buriti bronzer from RMS Beauty on the eyelids. And then now we're going to move on to eyeliner. You don't have to do this step. Like if you're really time poor, just whack on a bit of mascara, bit of lippy, done, and that's the finished look. But I want to pop on some eyeliner because I feel like it just opens up my eyes. So for eyeliner, I'm going to use the Kevyn Aucoin eye pencil in Basic Brown. I love this. It's so natural. Hold please, let me just sharpen this. So I'm going to go in with the brown eyeliner. I find brown really flattering if you want to keep it really natural. So I'm just going to push this product into my top lash line because I just want to enhance the top lash line, not actually apply like a crazy wing line or anything like that. Again, we're sticking to the more natural side of things. On the other end, you've got like a little spongy tip so you can blend out if you need to, which I always do at the very end. Like I kind of just blend it out into a little tiny wing, like a tiny wing, just to kind of give a nice lift, subtle lift to the eye. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Can you see? So that's the eye with the eyeliner, and I did put a little wing, like a little faint faded out wing just to kind of elongate the eye a little bit and just kind of give a nice lift. I'm going to go on to the other eye. So I'm just pushing it, the tip of the brow pencil into the lashes, lash line, and then using the sponge tip to like blend out the end here. And this eyeliner pencil from Kevyn Aucoin is so blendable. It's really creamy, doesn't drag on the eyelids. It's not waterproof, by the way. Water resistant though, not waterproof. I'm actually not a huge fan of waterproof makeup though. It's too difficult to remove. And also, one more thing, if you want to open up the eyes a little bit more, apply a very faint amount on the lower lash line and then smudge it out. Beautiful. I'm going to do that. I kind of basically dotted it on, if you can see that. And then with the sponge tip, just smudge it out. See that? Kind of defines and opens up the eye. This eye compared to this eye. Now look, again, you don't have to do all these steps, but this is just what I like to do if I want to keep a more natural approach. And if you don't have a little spongy tip to blend out the eyeliner, you can just use your your pinky finger. You could use a smudging eyeshadow brush. There's different ways. I think I'm happy with that. Yep. Next is mascara. I'm going to curl my lashes because I got Asian lashes, which means they go straight, grow straight, and they grow downwards like this. Not everyone's the same, but that's how my lashes are. So I'm gonna lift them up with a lash curler. I know to some people it looks like a torture device, like my boyfriend's behind the camera and he's just kind of looking at me like, what are you doing? So be careful with your eyelash curler. I'll go in the second time around because I want to make sure that it's curled nicely. Cool. Other side. Alright, great. So, mascara of choice is Kevyn Aucoin Curling Mascara. Popping on some mascara. Uh-oh, do you see that? That's okay, it's clean. We can clean it. Did you hate that when you did a bomb-ass job, you know, for your foundation and then that thing happens, especially if you hit it right here? Now the trick with that, guys, is to let it dry. Do not go in and smudge it out while it's wet and it hasn't really set yet, because it's gonna make your life so hard. It's gonna smudge out even more. So just let it dry completely, and then what you want to do is just get like a cotton tip and then just kind of like flake it off. I'm just building on the volume slowly. Yeah, so just wait till the little bit there dries completely and you can just flake it off. Alright, other eye. I kind of like brush up and then do this wiggly action as well. Make sure I get some volume. Honestly, this is by far my favorite mascara so far because the fact that the way it sets, it just sets. It will not transfer, I promise you. It will not transfer on the bottom lashes, bottom bit here where it gives you raccoon eyes by the end of the day or like halfway through the day. It's the best. I used to use the Better Than Sex mascara from Too Faced, but that clumped my lashes way too much. Didn't work for me. And it kind of transferred as well. Making sure that I got everything. Yeah, okay, cool. Done. Now you can do your bottom lashes if you want, but I'm just gonna leave it because I've already smudged a bit of eyeliner on the lower lash line, so it kind of gives the illusion of kind of gives a shaded illusion there. Define the eyes a little bit more. So that is mascara done, and I think that's about to dry soon. Let me just see if I can flake it off. I just use a spoolie to kind of like flick it off. Good as new. So that is the eyes done, I'm pretty sure. Yes, I'm happy with that. All right, now all that's left to do is lips. So I'm gonna keep it real simple, really easy, and I'm going to go in with the Hourglass lip oil treatment, and it's tinted. I fell in love with the Cameo shade. It's got this little pump here. See that? A little bit goes a long way, so it just gives like the most natural tint, and you look so healthy and like fresh. Almost done. Oh, feels so hydrating, and it actually does moisturizes your lips. Done. See, subtle tint, really fresh, perfect for spring, perfect for summer, even in winter, because you always want to look fresh. Now, the very last step. During winter, I like to use a hydrating face mist, and I like it because it sets my makeup as well. It gives me a nice glowy hydrated finish. And if my skin is more on the drier side and I feel like I need a bit of lift, a bit of something, and not completely mattify it, is this one. This is the Omravica Queen of Hungary mist. Beautiful product. It's just this beautiful fine mist. I like this compared to, you know, the really hyped up Tatcha dewy skin mist. That is way too dewy for me because it does have a bit of oil in there, and this is just all about hydration. So I'm gonna go in with the Queen of Hungary mist. That was funny. The nozzle was like all the way to this side. I'm like, I don't feel anything. Oh god. Anyway, that's better. Oh, it just feels like I'm in the hot springs, you know? It kind of gives me that vibe. It's got this beautiful scent to it. It's not artificial, but it's really fresh. So that is, oh, forgot these clips. Ow, pulled out of here, ow. I'm gonna get a brush so I look presentable for the finished look. I'm just gonna pop on my glasses. That's what I need to see. So yeah, this is the finished look.